Everybody, I'm Jay, he's Maddie, and it is another week of NFL Sunday. We're at week 8 already. Can you believe it?
Yeah, welcome to week 8 of NFL football, where we have 6 teams on buys this week, which means we have less games to cover. So we'll be able to cover them all in more detail in our week 8 preview show, where we go through every single game this Sunday and on Monday Night Football, going through the betting spreads and telling you who we think you should bet on. We also will be covering Thursday night's game, the Los Angeles Chargers versus the Minnesota Vikings. And we'll be finishing off the show with our fantasy must picks. So make sure to stay till the end to know who to play in your fantasy lineups this week. But Jay, let's start on Thursday night, where the Los Angeles Chargers beat the Minnesota Vikings. And Jay, what's wrong with Brian Flores' defense? Because we expected that defense to take over, and they're faltering this season.
Too many guys who aren't as familiar with the scheme, because you got that aren't as in tune with the scheme, because as Flores always says, it's a living scheme that the players own and have the right to make changes on the fly and shit like that during a game. He gives them a lot of ownership over it. A lot of injuries and backups playing that just don't have that. That's just me. I think that might be it, because they don't look as in sync with each other as last year, where last year they seem to move as one unit all the time.
Yeah, they're seemingly less fluid throughout the game. And I was surprised by how little pressure they put on. They seem to start the game off by putting that pressure on, and the defense looked good. We'll talk about video replay in a second, and we'll talk about the interception that never was. But on that first drive, they put a lot of pressure on until the interception that wasn't an interception according to the video replays. But they look good, and they were putting pressure on Justin Herbert throughout that game. So for me, I'm surprised that he didn't just continue with that, putting the pressure on. And it seems less fluid. I agree with you. These players aren't chopping and changing as much as we saw. And another thing that's a little bit of a worry for the Vikings is kind of that I thought the defensive tackle spot would really take over for them this year. And it's looking good. It's looking fine. I just expected a little bit more with the anchor in the middle, and then all the craziness that Flores brings on the outside. So I think once the injuries come back, then I think they'll be better. But they were disappointing in that game. And Jay, I think another side of that coin is the Chargers' offensive line was a lot healthier. Joel is looking like he's going to be a Pro Bowl candidate most years in the NFL. What did you think of Joel watching him in that game?
I think the Vikings made them look good, because I've watched the Chargers all year, and we made them look like fucking superstars.
Yeah, I think that their offensive line is healthier, but only at Joel. The rest of the positions are still as weak as they've lost. So, I'm surprised that the Vikings didn't go with that. But Jay, let's talk about the video replay and how we need to look back at how we use video replay, because me and you were in our group chat, and Hitman was saying that we were wrong in the group chat as well.
Trolling.
But on the opening drive, on the opening drive, the Vikings get an interception, and it goes, and the referees call it on field an interception, and then it goes to video replay, and the ball moves. Now, my opinion on this is we can't just have everything in slow-mo, because if we have everything in slow-mo, then the ball is always going to move. It, for me, was completely unarguable that he had control at that point. He controlled the ball. It was not the ground that controlled the ball for him. If the ground wasn't there, the ball would have remained in his hands. the movement was minuscule, and it's because we slow everything down to slow motion replay. What was your perspective on that from the video referees there?
I've seen so many catches that move more than that be held up. I've seen balls get dragged across the field that get held up as a play. That pissed me off. And I'm glad it's not just you and me. Like, there has been talking heads all week going off on that play, so it's not just us. But the thing is, too, is that I have no faith in the NFL. So not only this, do you remember the London game when Reichard hits the fucking wire on that field goal, the only field goal he misses all year, and it goes flying, and they don't call it? The NFL came out this week and said it never hit a wire. That was an optical illusion. All right, I fucking quit, bro. Like, how you think the NFL thinks the NFL thinks we're as dumb as the asshole in the house thinks we're dumb. Like, I don't know how. Like, the NFL thinks we're that fucking stupid. A ball does not just scream off to one way or another, and I don't care who kicks it. It's not a Vikings thing, right? Like, without, like, you're going to – the NFL literally looked at us and said, don't trust your lying eyes.
I'm surprised that they didn't say something like, you know, because the UK is in a different part of the world, the ball moves in a different way. Like, I'm surprised they didn't try and test – the geography just to say how stupid everyone was instead, you know, like it's a terrible like thing. We saw it hit the wire, and we all saw the ball move.
Right, just say yes.
Yeah, it's like we all saw the ball move as well. We saw the ball move, but we really had control.
We missed a play.
Yeah, and it's totally fine.
We have a weird delay,
and
it's making shit a little weird, guys.
Yeah, just a slight delay. Sorry, everyone. But it's clear that they really struggle to admit fault, and I think it's a systematic problem of organizations all over the world. I think, like, it's not just the NFL. Everybody has a serious problem with admitting fault, but we can see when they make faults, and it does. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist here. It doesn't affect the Cowboys. The Cowboys rarely get affected by what happens with the NFL. It seems to just affect other teams. And I don't think it's anything to do with, like, they favor other teams more. I don't think the NFL is scripted. That's not what I'm saying. It's just when it rains, it pours for some teams. And the Vikings seem like one of those teams currently that are getting a bad luck gene.
But it's like every year, right? The Sam Darnold, let's rip his head off. We changed the rule, but we don't use the new rule that we changed. And the fact, and this isn't just me keep bitching, but how about the fact that Carson Wentz got dragged down by his face mask, but there wasn't a call at the end of the fucking game? Or what about when you watch a game and not just the Vikings, they come in, they hit a guy in the head, the quarterback, they don't call it, but then 2 plays later for the other team, you sneeze on the quarterback and they call it. It's weird shit like that starts to make fans go, what the fuck?
Yeah, and it's just every time it's like, this has to be something where you can fix this. This has to be fixable. And they need to gain the trust back. They need to gain the trust back of the fans as well. But Jay, with the next question, after watching that game, I think Carson Wentz had a poor game. I don't think he was massively helped out by his offensive line, but I do think he was going back to holding the ball for too long. He was going back to, like, the Carson Wentz that we thought we were going to get. Is it time for JJ McCarthy now? We saw him on the sideline. We saw him hurdling a player as they got pushed out of bounds. Surely he's ready to come out and play next week.
Yeah, he should. The way it sounds, he'll be playing next week, and you have to see what you have with him. And I know a lot of people were like, fuck, the way Carson Wentz just looked, you might as well have just played Max Brosmer and get him in. And I get the theory because I was during the game frustrated. But if you really think about it, the worst thing you could have done was throwing the kid in that game when you couldn't protect him, get him blown up in the middle in his first game ever. And so they just rode the storm and let Carson Wentz get the fuck beat out of him. That dude was in so much pain, though. I get, like I told you guys in the comments or in our group chat, you know he got a shot of vitamin T at halftime. That dude was torn all up and came back out, but the way he hit the ground so many times and the way he would just wince, and you could see how much pain he was in. Dude's a warrior, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think Carson Wentz played badly, but I think it is fair play to Carson Wentz. I think he played badly, but he's clearly injured and he was getting slammed around the entire game. But what ended up happening, and we called it out, I think it was like just as they were going into halftime, is that he started to see rushers that hadn't got there yet. He started to see rushers that hadn't got past the offensive line yet. He still had time to throw the ball, but because he was getting beaten up and because he's like the guy was in so much pain, and full respect, and he should be ice bath. Like, he shouldn't be turning up to the facility unless it's for being taken care of. Like, he needs some serious rest after that game. But there was one particular play where the Chargers run a stunt and he's got loads of time, but he ducks before the rusher even gets past the center. He knows the rusher's going to get past the center, and instead of getting the ball out quickly, he just ducks immediately, and he's starting to see ghosts like Sam Darnold in New York Jets. So time for Carson Wentz to take the bench, and I'm excited to see JJ McCarthy. Jay, you excited?
Yeah, but one thing I want to say to Minnesota Vikings fans, and I love you, so I have to start with that because I'm about to roast you. Stop saying, oh, see, this is what happens when you let Sam Darnold go. You all would have lost your mind if they would have gave Sam Darnold a $100 million contract like Seattle did. You would have lost your fucking mind and dragged them for signing him to a $100 million contract. So all your whiny asses need to stop, because the Vikings couldn't have won either way with you guys.
Yeah, also Sam Darnold threw 4 interceptions last week. Like, just because the Houston Texans offensive line can't stop anyone, like, from getting any decent defensive line, like Sam Darnold threw 4 interceptions. So, Sam Darnold is playing really great football. I like watching Sam Darnold play well, but I think it had to be JJ McCarthy, because you can't get there with Sam Darnold. We've seen it. We know that the Minnesota Vikings team cannot get there with Sam Darnold, especially if they're paying them all that money. So see what you've got with JJ McCarthy. See what's in the building. And look, maybe Kirk Cousins comes back on a cut deal if JJ McCarthy looks shit next season and Kirk goes out and plays this game and he plays really well. Like, there's lots of...
Shut your mouth.
I hope that JJ McCarthy plays well. I want him to play well. But yeah, Jay, the Chargers, are they back to contenders? Because they look good. I thought they were moving the ball down the field. Like, yes, I thought the Vikings defense was not great, but the Chargers defense really put the Vikings offensive line to the sword there. The Chargers back to being contenders. Okay. We have, it seems that we're having tech problem, guys. We're having tech problems in this one, so bear with us while we sort that out. Jay will be coming back in any second now. Yep, here he is. He's coming back into the studio. Just waiting for him to connect up. But basically, I think the Chargers looked good in that game. I thought the Chargers played good, solid football. I think their pass rush is looking pretty dominant when it needs to, and I think that I think their pass rush is looking pretty good when it needs to, and when they're going up against like an offensive line that was struggling, it looked very good. And I think that Justin Herbert had a good game against the Vikings as well. He made the throws he needed to throw. What I am upset about is they did it without throwing Quentin Johnson the ball even once. Johnson didn't even get a single target, so 0 points in fantasy in that one. But Jay, do you think the Chargers are contenders after watching them come back? Do you think they've righted the ship?
I don't think beating the Vikings right now is any way makes you a contender. I still have questions. That's not saying they aren't. I just still have questions moving forward. I got some questions I need to see play out in the next few weeks.
Yeah, I think the Chargers are where are they? They're 5-3 now with a tiebreaker over the Chiefs.
But that's only one game. They still got to play them again.
Yeah. They only currently have a tiebreaker over the Chiefs, but they also have, after getting to 5-3, their next game is against the Titans, and then they've got the Steelers and the Jaguars, and then they've got the Raiders after that, and then their end to the season is Eagles, Chiefs, Cowboys, Texans, Broncos. So they need to come out with 3 out of 4 wins in their next weeks, maybe only dropping to the Steelers. So we'll see if they can challenge for their division.
To quote the late Chuck Woolery, they'll be 2-2.
Yeah, let's see how the Chargers turn out. But Jay, let's look ahead to week 8 and our early window of the previews where we go through every game and we give you the spread bets. Jay, we're going to start with the Atlanta Falcons, who are 7-point favorites against the Miami Dolphins. And the line has only moved half a point, with Michael Penix being ruled out and Kirk Cousins taking over. Jay, are the Falcons actually better with Kirk Cousins at quarterback?
Probably, but is he rusty? Does he come out in rhythm? That's the kind of things I think you're questioning. But I mean, as a quarterback right now, Kirk Cousins is better than Michael Penix. That doesn't mean Michael Penix can't get better. But I've had a lot of questions watching Penix this year, to where sometimes I'm like, okay, there's the guy that can be their franchise quarterback. And then a lot of times I see it and I'm like, okay, Michael Penix might not be the guy you wanted as your franchise quarterback. So it's really weird with him this year. But again, he's a young guy, literally his first year just starting, because, the weird shit that went on last year and splitting with Kirk half the year. So I think we got to give these guys at a very minimum a full season, but you got to give them 2 before you can really start to evaluate a quarterback in the NFL. I mean, you're going to have a lot of rough moments with a rookie quarterback, which essentially the second-year guys, I'm still lumping it kind of into that rookie bag.
Yeah, I think with Kirk Cousins playing, I think they will be better this week than with Michael Penix there. I think Michael Penix, there's just times where he just doesn't look like he just doesn't look right. There's the ball doesn't come out as well either. And people will go, well, it didn't look right with Kirk Cousins, and Kirk Cousins just didn't understand the system. If you watched quarterback with Kirk Cousins in it last year, then it looked like he just didn't understand the system and those kind of things. But people forget to mention he was coming off a really serious injury, the same injury that Aaron Rodgers was coming off, and started to look immediately better. Now he's 1 year removed. So let's see if that injury has cooled down. And I think Kirk Cousins, this is a great opportunity for him and for the Falcons, because I agree with you. The Falcons have to go with Michael Penix. They have to do that. It's a great opportunity for them to go up against a really bad team and Kirk Cousins make a play to go into a team that's struggling at quarterback before the end of the trade deadline. So it's like window shopping for him, and I think they will look better, and the Miami Dolphins do not look good. And part of that, Jay, is their shocking run game. Jay, Bijan Robinson is behind the offensive line for the Atlanta Falcons, and he is looking great. He's predicted to get 26 fantasy points this week. Do you think he's going to get that many fantasy points against the Miami Dolphins? Because that's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot of points to get. He could, but it's a lot. That's basically the whole offense is running through him all game, is what we're saying, right?
Yeah.
I mean, 100 yards rushing is 10. Then 100 yards receiving is another 10, and then a touchdown. So you're talking, you know what I mean, 26. But I don't know. It's a lot of points. So I guess for him to get to 26, he'll have to have, at least 6 receptions, right?
Yeah, I think it's a crazy number to predict 26. I think that's mad. Imagine getting a bust. The boom or bust scale. Imagine registering a bust when you score 21 points. That would be really rough. But yeah, and the other part of this is for fantasy owners of Bijan Robinson out there, which I'm included in this. But Tyler Algier is actually the kind of running back that destroys the Miami Dolphins. It's those tough running backs who run it up the middle, those workhorse running backs who, like Kishon Judkins and Rico Dowdle, have had huge games against them this year. It's those guys that beat the Dolphins. So I would be slightly worried about Bijan Robinson's production there as a fantasy owner, because I think Tyler Algier can go there. But projecting ahead for the Falcons, you've got your backup quarterback in, who's might not be as familiar with the system. You've got a two-headed run game in the backfield against a really poor running team who are going through a lot. And then Jay, on top of that, Tua Tagovailoa was added to the injury report as well. So it's not sure if he's going to play. Jay, does it matter if Tua plays? Should the Dolphins be trying something different at quarterback anyway?
Yeah, I don't think Tua's going to be there next year. I don't think McDaniel's going to be there next year. I think this is I don't even know who their backup is, though, to be honest with you. So
Quinn Ewers. They have Quinn Ewers and Zach Wilson are their two backups.
I guess see what Quentin Ewers has. I don't know. I don't know what you do. I mean, the Dolphins. It's so weird. The Dolphins are like right there with the Jets this year as the worst teams in the NFL. So, and they have way too much talent to be as shitty as they are, or at least we thought they did. I guess we're starting to question that, right? Like, what is Tua? Can he play in the NFL? Is starting to question. Jalen Waddle has never shown his first-round capability in a consistent manner, and your only bright spot is David Achane.
And he is the plus on that is he is a bright spot, and there also is the resurgence of Darren Waller and stuff like that as well. So they do have the talent. The scheme feels off. The offensive line, they built from the outside in, which is not what you're meant to do. I'd say just blow it up in Miami. See what you can get for these players. Maybe make a play for see what Quinn Ewers has got this week. I think see what you've got in Quinn Ewers. Maybe even see what you've got in Zach Wilson. Although him moving to the third on the depth chart behind Quinn Ewers is not very positive for what they think of him in Miami either. But give the Browns a call. See what they'll trade for Shedeur Sanders. See what they've got there. Dylan Gabriel. See if the Browns want to keep Shedeur, see what they've got with Dylan Gabriel. See what it would take to get him out of there and those kind of things as well. Just throw some stuff and see what sticks. As well, Jay, the Falcons are 7-point favorites in this one. Who have you got?
The Falcons. Just because the Dolphins are that bad.
I think the Dolphins are that bad. And I think the Falcons' weapons are pretty good as well. Jay, the Baltimore Ravens have gone from 6-point favorites against the Chicago Bears to 2.5-point favorites. And that's because Lamar Jackson has been ruled out. Are you surprised that the Ravens are still favorites, even with Lamar Jackson ruled out?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of one of those games where with Lamar, I still wasn't sure that they were going to beat the Bears. So the spread is, a little weird to me. They're putting a lot of faith in the Ravens of old coming back, I think a lot of bettors are doing that, right? I think we're almost seeing people betting on history and not reality of what's going on this season. They're betting on, the Ravens are just a better team than the Bears. And historically over the last decade, yeah, that's been true. I'm not sure that's true this year. I'm not sure that and it's not saying that the Bears have taken such leaps and bounds that I think the Bears are like Super Bowl contenders. I think the Ravens have fell off that much. And yes, the Bears have gotten better, but I think the Ravens have fallen off that much.
Yeah, I think the Bears have got better as well. And the Ravens, I agree with you. I think the betting is the Ravens can't be this bad. They're the Baltimore Ravens. They can't be this bad. But Jay, me and you saw it last year. We saw the writing on the wall for this last year. We were like, they're getting pulled out a lot by that amazing offense. And if that offense makes any mistakes, takes a step back, then they're going to struggle. Maybe John Harbaugh should be looking for a new job during the summer. We said that after the playoff loss as well. The Ravens are not a good football team. They do not do the things that good football teams do well. They rely so much on good quarterback play that they're going to struggle. They're going to struggle from here on out. And Jay, I think the Bears have been much better. They've got, 3 wins on the bounce. This is their 4th game. But Jay, is this the biggest game for Caleb Williams yet? Up against what is a bad defense, but everybody doesn't seem to realize that it's bad yet. Is it really important that he has a big and really good game and that the Bears come out on top here to show that they've really made those leaps?
I think all you really want out of Caleb Williams this year is to play with inside that system, to learn Ben Johnson's system, and to not look atrocious, right? Like, just come out, leave some positive things, make good decisions. And I think you'll win you'll win more games than you lose. And I'm not saying that they're going to win 12 games and whatever else, because let's not forget their brutal half of the schedule is going to start coming up here. But they've been showing some good things, and they definitely got things to build off. And I think that's all you want to see out of Caleb Williams and this Bears team, is that they keep building on what they already had. And as crazy as this sounds when it comes to professional sports, I don't actually think that this year for the Bears so much you should be judging on wins and losses. I think this is where you want to see what Ben Johnson's building. You want to be able to see Caleb Williams' progression by the end of the year. You want to see Rome Odunze playing like one of the top wide receivers. You know what I mean? And you want to see that defense get better. You just want to see incremental improvement, so that I feel like next year you come in with a real chance to go, we're going to compete for the division, go to the playoffs. And don't get me wrong, they still want to make the playoffs this year, and they still want to do those things, which is great. But I think as a fan, getting to the playoffs would be great for you. But in the scheme of everything, you want to just see the progression that you're looking for with bringing in this new system and all these players, and Caleb still being your young quarterback who needs to be developed.
Yeah, definitely. And guys, if you listened to us on Thursday, you would have realized that the Bears were a best bet for us at +6. That's now dropped to the Bears at +2.5. So make sure to listen to us, guys, for our best bets on Thursday nights. Because if you bet with us on Thursday, you'd be getting much better odds now. But Jay, Bears +2.5, Ravens -2.5. Who have you got in this one?
I'm still going to stick with the Bears.
I'm sticking with the Bears in this one as well. I'd be tempted to bet them straight up as well. But if you're giving me the points, then I will take the points on that one. Jay, the Cincinnati Bengals are 5.5-point favorites against the New York Jets. That line. Yeah.
I just laughed because this is a shit show of a game. This is just a shit show of a game.
Yeah. Rough game. Tyrod Taylor is injured, which means Justin Fields will be starting for the New York Jets. Jay, how does Justin Fields come back in terms of confidence from this, where he's been dropped and is back without even missing a game? How do you he had no time to process the fact he'd been dropped? Like, how the hell do you come back from that?
There's only one of two things you can do at this point, right? You can end up proving the narrative right that you can't play football, or you can come out and do something shocking and prove the world wrong at this point. I am going to bet that he just comes out and proves the world right. Woody Johnson, what he said, I said this on Thursday, was absolutely true, but he should have never fucking said it. That's the problem. You're the owner of the team. You should have never said it. But what he said about Justin Fields is still true.
Yeah. I think with Fields on this one, I think if I'm Justin Fields here, I'm just going, coach, let's run the ball. Like, coach, let's stop fucking dicking around, throwing the ball around. I'm running the ball. Breece Hall's running the ball, and Brandon Allen's running the ball against the Bengals. Like, that's what's going on. Like, I want to come out and I want to show my skill set. And my skill set is running the ball, because I think where he's going wrong is he's trying to be a pocket passer, which he's just not. Like, he's terrible at it. Like, he's really bad at being a pocket passer. So Justin Fields, get the ball in your hands and run with it until the Bengals put 20 people in the box so you can throw to wide open people, because he only throws to wide open people. Justin Fields has a great arm if somebody is college open, not NFL wide open. We're talking 5 to 10 yards open. That's when he has a great arm. is when he has that, but he will not throw to anybody who's not completely open. So run the ball. Like that's all it's all the Jets can do.
Only you would find a way to make a comparison to use the word great arm and Justin Fields in the same fucking sentence. I don't know
what you're just a backhanded compliment.
When are you going to completely bail on Justin Fields? I want to know when you're going to jump out the plane, pull the ripcord, and just say, I'm fucking done.
I just did. I said he's terrible at pocket passing. I basically just said he shouldn't play quarterback.
Like, yeah, but you literally figured out how to say he has a great arm in the same sentence. I don't know how that even came around.
And he refuses to. He basically, Justin Fields can throw a football. He just refuses to throw a football, and that is worse than almost not being able to throw it at all. The fact that he refuses to throw it. Jay, the Cincinnati Bengals look like they turned the corner with Joe Flacco. Like Jamar Chase went off, T. Higgins went off. The offense looked good. Do you think they've turned that corner? Will you see the continuation from the Bengals offense here? Flacco is the streakiest quarterback of all time.
Okay, I just have this thing. Well, it definitely helps that you're playing the Jets, and I love Flacco. You know I'm a fan of Flacco being out there and playing, but Flacco has this thing where he has these amazing game or two and then has a totally ass game or that kind of thing. And I almost feel like the longer he gets into the system, the more the glaring weaknesses of the Bengals are going to show. Like, I feel like, the first couple weeks he just came in and was like, all right, I'm just going to focus on this. And I feel like as soon as they start to open up the playbook and try to be like, okay, we're going to be the Bengals, then it's all going to fall apart again. I just think it's not going to be this week because the Jets are that bad.
Yeah, I think the Jets, what's been the most surprising about the Jets is not how bad they've been on offense, it's how bad they've been on defense. And I think a team like the Bengals, who, if you can't get pressure to them, if you can't get pressure to Joe Flacco, and he has wide receivers like Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, he will dice you up. Like he is able to do that. Like he possesses that. I don't care. Like Sauce Gardner, I think, is taking a bit of a step back as well. So, Jay, the Bengals are 5.5-point favorites in this one. Who have you got?
Give me the Bengals.
Yeah, I think the Bengals will win by a touchdown on this one as well.
I think the only way
so far.
I'm not even joking. The only way I take the fucking Jets in this game is if it was more than 12 points. I'm not saying I'd bet on Cincinnati if it was 12 points. I'm just saying the only way I would ever take the Jets in this game is if it was 12 points. Like,
yeah, I know what I mean. For fantasy owners, I think that I feel like Chase Brown might really go off in this game, actually. Like, he got a lot more usage last week. And I think with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, like, they'll be the focuses of the defense. And then the underneath stuff that Chase Brown does really well, I think he could possibly go off in this one.
I need Breece Hall to have a big game, so let's go.
Jay, the Carolina Panthers are going up against the Buffalo Bills. The Bills are 7-point favorites. The Bills are coming off a bye week which followed them playing the Saints close and losing to the New England Patriots as well and losing their foothold in the division. Is Vegas being a bit disrespectful to the Carolina Panthers here? And are they being too kind to the Buffalo Bills?
No, I don't think so. I think it's because it's a problem to face Josh Allen coming off a bye. It's when you have
never lost a game off a bye.
Yeah, and when you have I don't want to say totally, but when you have a healthier team who just got rested and Josh Allen's feeling better because he takes a lot of beating during the fucking season. Yeah, and Josh Allen off a bye, like you were just saying, he's a monster. So I think that has a lot to do with it. And I like what Carolina's doing, but I think sometimes teams like Carolina who show life, then they get hit in the mouth by a really good team.
Yeah, I think with Carolina, though, their home record is very good, and their run game is what they base their entire offense on. And they are without who's Andy Dalton starting this week for them. Bryce Young is out, and Andy Dalton's starting a quarterback for them. Which, I mean, Andy Dalton's pretty pretty steady, but the Bills, the Panthers, everything they do is from their run game, and the Bills have one of the worst run defenses in the NFL. Like that bottom three run defense, bottom three run defense in the NFL. And if you're giving me a 7-point advantage when you have that bad a run defense against an offense that's been good against the run, I'm taking the Panthers in this one.
All right,
give me the Panthers
in
this game at +7. Yeah, give me the Panthers at +7 in this one. Jay, outside of just this game as a whole, the Bills have looked pretty weak at the wide receiver position. Josh Allen hasn't had those explosive plays that we're used to. With them just having a bye week and there being some wide receivers out on the market, are you surprised that they haven't brought anybody in at wide receiver from the trade market with the trade deadline coming up and them having a bye week this week?
No, only because, okay, who are you going to go get one and what are you going to give up, right? That becomes the question because it's always easy for some fans to be like, dude, they should go get Jamar Chase. Yeah, if that could happen, I'm sure they would have. You know what I mean? And I know I'm being hyperbolic with Jamar Chase, but fans get this thing where they think that these teams can just go get these guys who are going to change their life around, which is crazy to me. And you have to look at what you're going to give up to get there. And yes, receiver would be important for them right now because it would help. But I think they got more deficiencies than just that, right? They got a lot of problems on their defense too. So are we going to sacrifice future draft picks to go get a receiver that might help us now? And any receiver you're going to go get now, for the most part, you're going to have to pay, right? It's not just draft compensation. It's financial compensation, and you got these guys trying to maneuver caps, all that kind of stuff. I think for fans, they think that trading for an in-season trade is a lot easier than it is.
Yeah, and I think with the Bills, as you say, they have a serious deficiency on defense. Like that run defense is horrific. The safety position is atrocious for them. They have a real issue at safety.
I'd call the Titans for defensive players before receivers. That's just me. But as you go on, if you were them and you were going to get a receiver, who would be the guy you would try to target right now?
So the guys that immediately come to mind, so like Jalen Waddle won't get traded within division, and we don't really know if he's a number one anyway. There's Jacoby Myers, who's on the trade block for the Raiders. Is Jacoby Myers the right type of wide receiver? Do you not already have Jacoby Myers in Keon Coleman, like in those kind thank you. That's who I was trying to remember. But do they have? Don't they already have Jacoby Myers? The one guy that stands out, you have to give up way too much to go for, and it's Chris Olave. Like if the Bills can get Chris Olave out of the Saints, that's the play, right? That's the guy. And Chris Olave is worth a first-round pick, in my opinion. He's that good. It's just, is that all it's going to take? And with his concussion and injury issues, is it a problem?
That's what scares me too. When Buffalo plays that smash mouth type of game sometimes, and then you got Chris Olave with head injuries, history, that makes you a little skeptical on what am I willing to give up for a guy? And I know this isn't against Chris Olave. This is anybody who's had that many head injuries. But what am I going to give up for a guy who's one or two more concussions away from not playing football anymore?
Yeah, exactly. And with the other guys who are on the market, so there's also like Calvin Ridley and maybe Rashad Bateman you could get out of the Ravens. Like the Bills have already got that. The Bills have got a wide receiver room full of twos. You need a one. And actually what they desperately need is a safety. So I think fans should maybe chill out in that one. But I'm going for the Panthers in that game because the Bills vibes are off. I'm going for the Panthers in that one. And Jay is going for the Bills. We then move on, Jay, to the Houston Texans, who are 2.5-point favorites against the San Francisco 49ers, which blew my mind. When we did our Thursday bets, both of our best bets there as well were the 40. We both took the 49ers at +1.5. I'm amazed that it has moved a point towards the Texans, not a point towards the 49ers. It blew my mind. So no prizes for guessing who I'm picking in this one. But Jay, do you still believe the 49ers are better with Mac Jones than with Brock Purdy? Because that's what it seems to be for Vegas.
I mean, he's 4-1, and Bill Parcells once said, "You are what your record says you are." Right? Like, he's 4-1 as their starter. You and I have talked about that he can do everything that Brock Purdy can do in a physical sense. Is Brock Purdy a little like more athletic, faster? Yeah, maybe. But Mac Jones, I think, actually has a better arm, and I think Mac Jones is a better fit for that team. And I think, you've said it a few times, Mac Jones isn't afraid to be like, all right, I'm going to just sling this ball down the field. And sometimes you just need that. And we've talked about this, like, you got to take X amount of big plays a game to keep the defense honest, even if they don't land. And I know people are like, he has thrown some bad deep interceptions. He has on third down. Is it really that big of a deal if he chucks a fucking 50-yard interception? That's a punt, guys. Like, you just don't have to punt now. Like, he took a chance on third down, slung it down the field for an interception. So some interceptions are worse than others, right? And we can all agree that there's sometimes that there's worse interceptions than others. Red zone interception, that kind of thing. A third down interception that gives you about the same net about as a punt is never going to be a bad thing if they're taking a shot down the field. Maybe you and I are just kind of caught on this too, but we've been saying this for at least a year now. Like, why are you paying Brock Purdy this kind of money when you can have Mac Jones playing this position for you? And we even went back to, if Sam Darnold's anything, you would keep him instead of paying Brock Purdy because you'd get him cheaper. This isn't a shot at Brock Purdy. It's a shot at the price you have to pay for Brock Purdy just being solid and serviceable.
Yeah, we ran all the way through. We ran all the way through this at the time where they were going to pay Brock Purdy, where it's like they just had Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold came out. He played well in his game for the 49ers. He then went to the Vikings and looked great for the Vikings and went and got his contract, which was less than Brock Purdy's was as well. But they could have had they could have had Sam Darnold in the building. They could have had Sam Darnold playing instead of having to pay Brock Purdy there as well. And then they've gone Mac Jones, who was the guy in the same draft year as Brock Purdy. He was the guy that Shanahan wanted. Like, Mac Jones was the guy that Shanahan wanted. So, it's almost like a self-fulfilling thing. And I think the big deal with Mac Jones is, look, the 49ers football team gets injured. It is an injured football team. That is just what happens. And Mac Jones can do more than Brock Purdy can with less. Mac Jones is better with less than Brock Purdy is, and he has shown that across his career, being 4-1 this season. Brock Purdy played his game and he lost. Brock Purdy is 0-1 this season. Or he's 1-1 on the season, sorry. So he played his game and he lost. And in this game, Juwan Jennings is back. Kendrick Bourne and Mac Jones have a great connection. Ricky Pearsall is unfortunately out for another week, but George Kittle is one more week removed from his injury as well. So the 49ers are getting healthier. And if it was me, I'd be tempted to trade Brock Purdy, see what I could get to do it. I know they won't because they've just paid him, but that's what I'd be tempted to do. And that's if I was playing on Madden where I didn't have like an actual job to rely on it. Jay, I've just mentioned that the 49ers weapons are another week back from injury. Are they now starting to look like the team that we like? Are they starting to look like contenders? Are they starting to look like the team that all the media says they are going into the season before the injuries hit?
Well, yeah, because this is one of the few teams where you're like they don't. You usually say a team is going to go as far as their quarterback can take them. I think with this team, you're like they're going to go as far as Christian McCaffrey can take them, right? And Christian McCaffrey's been balling out, been playing great, and I pointed out on Thursday, when you watch it with Juszczyk and Kittle in the game, it is just different. The things they can do on offense, the way they can line up, the blocking. Kittle and Juszczyk picked up the fucking the left defensive end.
Yeah.
And made it so that the offensive lineman could get fucking 9 yards down the field to pick up the other blocks. And when you leave Christian McCaffrey a hole that you could drive a Cadillac through, yeah, of course. And when you got a fullback and a tight end who can pick up blocks the way these two do, it changes life. And then you can do so much things off of that look the same. So now you're going to think it's a pass, and these two both can go, or a run. These two both can go out into the pass and catch. We've seen Juszczyk do it for years. Everybody knows how great George Kittle has been through his career. I think that these two guys make such a huge difference on that team, and they do the dirty work that they don't get a lot of credit for and that a lot of people aren't going to talk about.
Yeah, and Jay, the other side of this team is that Robert Saleh has come back and is doing an amazing job at defensive coordinator with an injured team. He has those guys playing hard, playing really solid football. I'm starting to get on to seeing the 49ers being a very good football team. And Jay, I just don't see the Texans' offensive line being able to hold up against Robert Saleh's defense. Can the Texans the Texans defense one of the top 3 in the NFL? Is the Texans defense so good that it can win them this game? And that's what Vegas is seeing.
I don't know. The Texans defense, the Texans defense is playing pretty decent. Their offense just complete ass, and it makes the Texans defense even worse because they're on the field all the time. So people think that the Texans defense is actually worse than it is, but it doesn't matter. We can argue, is their offense good? Is their defense good? None of it matters if your defense can't breathe. If your defense is on the field all the time, it doesn't matter how good the defense is, because you're giving the other team 60 plays is just a ridiculous stat for your defense to have to hold up against. And that's the problem with the Texans defense, is that they get no help from that offense because the offensive line is so terrible. The offensive line is so terrible, it's actually hurting both sides of the ball.
Yeah, and what do we think? The 49ers, so the over-under on this game is 41.5. So what we say, the 49ers get like 20 points, 21, 22 points. Can the Texans score that many points? Like the defense is good enough to keep the 49ers to that level, but do the Texans get that many points? We were watching up points last week where the Texans offensive line, there was Seahawks players like D-Law was past the offensive line basically before CJ Stroud was able to look up. Like, I don't care how fast you get the ball out of your hands, you're not getting anything done at that point if there's guys in the backfield before you even have the chance to look up from when you caught the ball. So, Jay, are we both still on the 49ers for this game at plus 2.5?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, plus 2.5, 49ers, which takes us to the New England Patriots up against the Cleveland Browns. The New England Patriots are 7-point favorites in this game. Jay, can the Browns defense confuse Drake May into making bad decisions? He's made so few so far this year.
I actually like the question because it's the only chance Cleveland has to win is to get Drake May off his spot, make him make bad decisions, and let that defense wreak havoc. I don't think so. I don't think the coaching staff in New England will put Drake May in a position where he is going to have to be the reason they win or lose. I think they'll put him in. I think that defense for New England plays great. I think that we already know that they're suspect, that Cleveland's suspect on the offense. So that already becomes a problem with Dylan Gabriel in there and the weapons around him. I just think they will protect Drake May. They will come out with a great game plan. They will try to figure out how to run the ball, but they're not going to be like, Drake, you have to win us this game. And I think that's great what they're doing with him. I think they are developing him so perfectly because they are allowing him to thrive while not putting him in fucked up positions. And I think that's huge when it comes to the quarterback position. You and I have talked about it a ton of times. More quarterbacks are ruined than developed in the league, which is sad. And I think they're doing a great job of developing a guy who had a ton of talent, but I had a lot of questions on how he would react with that talent in the NFL. And he's been playing great. And I don't think they'll even put it on Drake May to be the reason they win or lose this game. But I think that is the only way the Browns have a chance to win, is to create turnovers.
Yeah, I think the Browns will create a different game than what the Patriots have had in their past few. So they've won a lot of games with those like deep balls that Drake May is absolutely launching to Booty. I've forgotten his name. But they're like launching those deep balls down the field, and that's looking great for them. But I don't think the Browns will let them have that. Like, there's no way that Browns defensive line allows enough time for those plays to develop. So it will be a different thing for them to see. And I think the key, I agree with you, is for the Patriots to start finding some serious balance between their pass and run game. But Jay, the Browns offense is so just dull. Like, Sean Judkins is good, but the Patriots run defense is excellent. So I don't expect Judkins to have as much as an effect here. And it might have to be on Dylan Gabriel. And Jay, if Dylan Gabriel plays badly here, could we start to see Shedeur Sanders next week? They gave Joe Flacco a month. They might give Dylan Gabriel a month, and then they might give Shedeur Sanders a month, and then make the call when we get to the playoffs. Make the call in the next offseason.
I want to see Shedeur play as much as everybody else, but if you literally pull a rookie quarterback after 4 weeks, then there's no ever going back, and he's ruined. And I don't think that that's a great way to develop a guy. And we can argue if they made the right choice or not by starting him over Shedeur. That doesn't matter. They did. So I think you're incompetent as an organization if you don't give this kid the rest of the season. So I don't think we see Shedeur this year unless there's an injury, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, and I agree. I also think there's been a lot of hate on Dylan Gabriel since he's come in for the Browns team. I don't think Dylan Gabriel has played too badly. Like, I don't think he doesn't scream to me that he's going to be like the best quarterback in the NFL, but he doesn't scream to me that he's a bad quarterback in the NFL either. I don't think he's played too badly. He plays within his means. And Kevin Stefanski actually runs a really great system for a quarterback that plays within his means. Just they don't really have the weapons on that side of the ball to execute anything, really.
Well, and he's 4'3", but besides that.
That's gonna be a struggle. But he's played in pretty shitty weather so far. But that's also gonna happen in Cleveland as well. So you don't want to be a quarterback who can't really handle shitty weather if you're playing in Cleveland as your career. But we'll see. I still have a sneaky suspicion that we will see Shedeur Sanders sooner rather than later. But Jay, who have you got in this one? The Patriots are 7-point favorites.
Give me the Patriots. I don't even think it'll be close to 7, but who knows this year because the NFL teams make the betting lines pretty difficult.
Yeah, I weirdly don't love the spread in this one because the Browns have a really good defense and a semi-good run game, which can lead to pretty close games. But I think the Patriots are more than good enough to beat the Browns by 7 points. And Jay, for our final game in the early window, it is the NFC East division rivalry. Philadelphia Eagles out for their revenge game against the New York Giants. The Philadelphia Eagles are 7-point favorites. Jay, are the Giants going to fall off after that fourth quarter in Denver?
I don't think they will because young players just rebound quicker than older players because they just don't know what they don't know and they're just ready to play and excited. So I think you'll see Jackson Dart have already brushed it off. Scadaboo, those guys will have brushed it off. My fear in this game isn't that. My fear in this game is you just beat the Eagles. The Eagles are a really good team. And are they going to come out fucking pissed off trying to prove a point that you guys just beat them? And are they going to try to go, look, that was a fluke and we'll prove it?
Yeah, I think with the So I don't think I agree with you. I don't think the Giants will factor in. It doesn't seem like Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterboo really give that much of a shit about losing. They look like they're out there to have fun. They look like they're out there to play with each other and have a fun game. And I think that's just completely invaluable at the quarterback and running back position. And I think they're already leaders on that team as well. I think they'll come out and I think they'll play well. I think they'll play really well. And I think the Eagles, I agree with you, they're going to be out for revenge against this Giants team. But I think the Giants have really got a game plan that goes well against the Eagles. I took the Giants as one of my best bets at +7.5 because the Eagles don't blow teams out. And the Giants are playing a style of football where they don't get blown out either. And I can really see Dart taking advantage of the weak point in the Eagles secondary. that they have as well. And also the other side of this, Jay, is Jalen Hurts had the perfect passer rating last week. Have the Eagles unlock their pass offense after last week, and how devastating could that be for the Giants as well?
I think the fact that people just sleep on the Eagles and are like, oh, they can't run the ball, they can't throw, but they just keep winning. But they can't do anything according to everybody. It just always baffles me. The Eagles hate is real, though. I kind of hate the Eagles, but I end up having to defend them on this show, so it's a kind of a wild place to be in. But I think they can beat you so many different ways that people just better watch out. And last week, they just beat you with the pass, and I don't know. And I could argue that there was some things in that game that made it easier for them to win, but we don't need to go there. I think the Eagles, though, are still one of the top teams in the NFL. I think they're still one of the top contenders for the Super Bowl. And I think people really underestimate the fact that they have receivers at every level. I mean, they have weapons at every level, not just their receivers and running back.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. I think they showed what they could do in the past game last week. But the reason that they were able to do that is because the Vikings sold out to stop the run in that game last week, and then the Eagles can just beat you over the top. They can beat you at every. I just think the Giants played close. I think the Eagles played close in a divisional game. 7 points. Oh, it's close. Jay, I've taken the Giants in this one. I took the Giants at +7.5. I'm going to take them at +7 as well. Jay, who have you got in this one?
Give me Philly -7.
All right, Philly -7. So that's Philly.
Well, I'm cheering for the Giants.
A touchdown. Me too. But Jay, that is it for the first part of the show. We have covered the early window here. Guys, stay with us for the late window, Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football, and our fantasy players to watch. But to support us so we can continue to do this and bring good betting to you all, you can always buy us a coffee.
Me and Jay set up the Yankee and the Brit nearly 5 years ago. And in that time, we've gone up to about 7 shows a week. And with the help of our loyal community, we've been able to keep growing. But we want to grow even more. And that's why just giving $5 or £5 could really help us out in our Buy Me a Coffee fund. And all you have to do is hit the Buy Me a Coffee link in our YouTube descriptions. That'll be on every single video. You can give £5, $5. You can give it once, you can give it every month. And what that does is it allows us to grow and even buy ourselves a coffee every once in a while.
All right, guys, so you can go to the link in the description or hit the QR code above Jay's head in order to get us, buy us a coffee and to support us as well. Give as much as you like, as little as you like. And the most important thing you can do for us, guys, is subscribe and hit the notification buttons as well. That's equally as important. But Jay, let's move on to the later window, where there's only 3 games in the late window. The New Orleans Saints are going up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Buccaneers are 4.5-point favorites. Jay, I found out that Baker hates the Saints. I didn't realize how much Baker disliked the Saints because he believes that the Saints went out to purposely hurt him. How much will Baker's hatred play for the Buccaneers against the Saints this week?
Okay, I think this is one of the few times in with one of the few guys that this shit matters, right? I think a lot of times it's overhyped. I think Baker's one of those dudes, though, that puts a chip on his shoulder. Like Jordan used to manufacture chips and Brady kind of did the same thing. I think Baker's a guy you don't want to play when he's pissed off. And it's your divisional rival. You already hate them. You think they came out to hurt you. It becomes personal and you want to just slap the shit out of him. I think that's a real thing.
Yeah, I agree. I think Baker managed to put a chip on his shoulder even when he was the first overall pick. He he managed to still come out with a chip on his shoulder, even after being the first overall pick. So he finds ways to do that. And I think it is important for Baker, and especially with the Buccaneers, as injured as they are on the offense, maybe he felt like he needed that. And I think it will be important for him. But Jay, the Saints, I think, have been a really feisty team. They've played a lot of teams very hard this season, including teams like the Bills as well. Are they kind of feisty enough to get out and beat the injured Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Because there are injuries for Tampa Bay as well.
No, I think they're going to make it difficult. It'll be like a better game than people think because the Bucs are just a better team, but they are injured. But I still think when it's all said and done, it won't be that close of a game at the end. I just think that the Saints will give a good hard, like they're coached well enough to where they play hard, they play tough, and they scheme themselves into some points. But at the end of the day, I don't think it'll be enough. And I'm taking the Bucs minus the 4.5.
Yeah, and that was one of your best bets on Thursday night as well. I'm going with the Bucs minus 4.5 on this one as well. I think that the injuries that the Bucs have, they actually have kind of a changing of the guards happening. So with Emeka Egbuka there and Tez Johnson looked good the other day as well. So I think their wide receiver room might be okay. Chris Godwin has been ruled out for this one, though, as well. So Sterling Shepard stepping up for them too. I think that'll be a fun game. That's a game that I'll definitely be paying a lot of attention to. A game that probably won't be paying so much attention to is the rivalry that probably would have only been a 2-point difference if they picked the spreads at the start of the season. But it's the Indianapolis Colts, who are 14.5-point favorites versus the Tennessee Titans. And Jay, very simple, quick question for you here. Is there any chance that the Titans can cause an upset? Or is there even any chance they can get within this massive spread?
Well, no, I don't think they can cause an upset, but it is the NFL any given Sunday, right? But
yeah,
I still have a problem with that 14.5 spread because it's absolutely ridiculous, but I could absolutely see the Colts winning by more than 14, which so makes this spread so difficult, right? Because even let's say they're up by 20 and then you give up a garbage time touchdown to Tennessee and now it's a 13-point game and the spread got killed, right? So that's one of those weird things where the spread is just so outrageous. I hate this because I think Indy's going to beat them up, but I am going to take Tennessee and the points because I think, like I said, even a garbage time touchdown maybe pulls them within 2 touchdowns. So this is more of, I think Tennessee weathers the storm enough to not get beat by 15.
I think after watching a lot of the Raiders game against the Titans, for fantasy reasons, I had the Raiders defense that week. But after watching that game, I can't see the Titans getting close to laying a glove on the Colts at all. Like their offensive line.
You taking that terrible big spread?
I'm taking the big spread. Give me the Colts at plus 14.5. I can't see them. I reckon I'll be amazed if the Titans get a touchdown. I think that's a win for them. If the Titans get a touchdown, I think that is a win for their new coach. Their offensive scheme, if they come away with a touchdown, that's how little I think of the Tennessee Titans currently. And it's not Cam Ward's fault. It's not Cam Ward's fault at all. They give him very little in terms of easy stuff in the offensive scheme. When Callahan was there and they're still trying to implement the new coach's scheme, they give him so little. And the offensive line is so poor that I think the Colts are really going to put it on them. And on the other side of this, the Colts don't slow down against teams. They put bad teams to the sword. That's what they do. They don't slow down. So give me the Colts in this one as well. And Jay, in the big game in this window, the Denver Broncos are 3.5-point favorites against the Dallas Cowboys. It is in Denver where the weather is fair and the altitude is high, which means the ball flies further. Jay, will Brandon Aubrey break the field goal distance record this week? This is his chance to do it in Denver.
I mean, it's not impossible. It's definitely something, if it's given the opportunity, he could do. This is actually the game where my fantasy player to watch comes from, so stay tuned for that. I mean, if anybody's going to break it in Mile High, it's Aubrey, though, right?
Yeah, I genuinely think give him a shot. if we have a chance for a field goal at 65 yards, give him a shot.
I don't think
He's not
people
gonna leave it-
understand. I don't think people understand how altitude fucks with you too. Like, I've been to Denver, but I've been to Taos, New Mexico, which is the highest point of the Rockies in the United States. And I literally squatted down to take a picture and fell over. Like, my balance was gone. I squatted and like fell over and had to catch myself. The breathing was weird. It makes you weirdly emotional. Like, altitude really fucks with you. My wife got altitude sickness. Like, altitude's really a thing, and I don't think people really understand the effects of that. Like, and if people don't, just go back to Ryan Clark losing his fucking spleen because he has sickle cell and played in Mile High. That's how fucked up that is, right? So it takes its toll on let alone players, but like that thin air makes that ball just travel.
Yeah, I remember like I was in Colombia for a couple of months, and I ended playing up football against some of the there was just a football pitch in the middle of the village, and it's in the coffee growing region, and coffee is largely grown at high altitudes a lot of the time in Colombia as well. So like it was a high altitude football pitch, and I remember playing football on there and thinking, I remember just going like, God, I'm so unfit. And then I realized like the fittest guy, like he cycles regularly across like the UK and across France and stuff. He was blowing on the sideline too. That made me feel a lot better. It wasn't my lack of fitness, but altitude really messes with you. But what it also does is it messes with the ball. One of the key things that I loved to do in fantasy when we first started doing it was taking Brandon McManus when he played for the Denver Broncos, because he had a huge leg, but also plays most of his games in Mile High. So he ends up getting huge field goals a lot of the time as well. So if a guy's playing in Mile High, take him as your kicker as well. Jay, I think this boils down to how many points can the Broncos score? Like, how many points can Dallas score against this great Broncos defense? And how many points can they limit Denver to? Obviously, who scores the most points wins. That sounds so obvious. But this is strength against strength, weakness against weakness at its finest. The strength of the Dallas Cowboys is their offense. The strength of the Denver Broncos is their defense. And they're both weak on the offense and defensive side on the ball on the opposite ends. So, Jay, can the Broncos score at least 30 points against the Dallas defense? Would they be able to score those 30 points, which they're currently averaging?
I like the way you wrote it up better than the question you asked, but okay. If you read how you wrote it, it made me laugh.
I just saw it said, can the Broncos score 30 points against the Broncos defense, which is why I started stumbling and realized I wrote it down wrong. Yeah.
Let me go in reverse and answer this for both teams, okay? But let me start. Can the Cowboys score 30 on Denver? Yes. They have to use the passing game to open up the run. You are not going to use the run to open up the pass against Denver. That's not going to happen. You have to use the pass to open up the run, which is fine. You guys have the weapons. Can you hold Denver to under 30? Yes, as long as you keep those receivers at bay, right? Like, you can't let Bo Nix throw a 30, 40-yard completions. You have to keep them, like, trying to run the ball. So your job in the reverse is, like, they have to run to open up the pass, I think, against the Cowboys. And in the reverse, you got to pass to open up the run. If you guys can lock down those receivers, then I think you have a good chance at keeping them under 30. And I like that you picked 30 as the benchmark, because I think that's a pretty good benchmark for the game on, like, he who reaches 30 could win this game. I love what Denver does with their defense, but I think you guys could get open in the passing game. And I think the Cowboys, you already struggle, with some of your defense, but you have the corners to lock these guys down, and that's what you need to do. You need to stop Bo Nix from getting hot and playing all that game like he does in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and I think with this game as well, I think what's key, the Broncos actually averaged 23 points per game. They actually averaged 21 points per game if you take away the fourth quarter against the Giants, where they scored 30 points in a quarter. They averaged 21 points per game. So can the Cowboys score 21 points. Yeah, like the Cowboys, I think I will be surprised if the Cowboys don't get at least 21 points. But the Cowboys defense has been so rocky that you would expect Denver to do much better than their average. So 30. I'm taking the Cowboys in this one as well, Jay. I do think the strides that they took against the Commanders, the strides that they took in that game, they looked loads better against the Commanders, like the injured Commanders wide receiver core. They looked a lot better. And I don't think that Sean Payton will let Bo Nix go. I don't think he will let him off the reins, which I think it's something he has to let him do. So I'm taking the Cowboys in this one. Jay, you took the Cowboys in this one, right?
Yeah, and I'm still taking the Cowboys in this one.
Yeah, so the Cowboys in this one for the two of us at +3.5. Moving on to Sunday Night Football, where the Pittsburgh Steelers are going up against the Green Bay Packers. The Packers are 2.5-point favorites. Jay, Micah Parsons got 3 sacks last week and seemed to have his breakout game, leading him to him now being favorite in the Defensive Player of the Year odds. Will he continue on from his performance last week?
Like with 3 sacks? No. And he got 3 sacks last week because of the fucking team he was playing had just decided not to block him on the offensive line a few times, which is weird to me in itself. Like, hey, there's Micah Parsons over there. Let's just not pick him up when we're adjusting the blocking scheme at the line. Let's not worry about Micah Parsons. It's a weird fucking thought. And don't get me wrong, there was a play where he lined up on the offensive right side, which has been the defensive left side, and he fucking came around that corner like he was shot out of a fucking gun. So he's got every ability to do it, but I don't think this is the week you see it, because I don't think the Steelers are going to be the type of team who are going to be like, okay, we're going to let Micah beat us. And Aaron Rodgers is one of the best at picking up the call and adjusting the blocking scheme at the line of scrimmage. Also, you're talking about a guy who gets the ball out of his hands lightning fast. I doubt this is going to be a time where he decides to hold on to the ball while playing against Micah Parsons.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers is getting the ball out of his hands faster than anyone in the league this season now. It's a totally unique offense that they've got. And the Packers secondary, it looked kind of suspect against the Arizona Cardinals last week. Like when the Cardinals offensive line remembered to block Micah Parsons, Jacoby Brissett was getting the ball down the field. Against the Packers secondary. And I think Rodgers can do the same. Jay, where are this Packers team after only just beating a Cardinals team who really suffer from any level of consistency?
All right, if we're going to play the like, you're not what your record says you are game, like the Packers record looks better than it actually should for the way they played this year. I mean, they have that ugly ass tie. They've barely gotten past some teams that we thought they should have beat up. I think this is actually a pretty decent litmus test to where the Packers are this year playing the Steelers team, because I think this is a really solid Steelers team. Do I think they're top in the AFC? No. But they're definitely in that top few teams in the AFC. So I think this is a good litmus test to see where the Packers are at right now.
Yeah, and the Steelers, their division is in their hands, like they really should, with the injuries that the Ravens have had, with Joe Burrow being out. They really should go out and win their division as well. Jay, are the Steelers one of the harder teams to grade this year as well, because they've had some pretty ropey looking games, like only just beating the Jets, and the defense looking poor to start the season, and then they had that game where just the offense looked completely off as well. The Steelers a bit up and down, consistently up and down.
Yeah, and I think part of it comes down to shit like this. Like, I don't think Ramsey will look as old this year as he did last year, this week compared to last week, because he doesn't have a Jamar Chase he has to cover on either side of the Packers lining when the Packers line up on offense. So the Packers have good receivers, but they don't have the Jamar Chase on their team, right? They probably don't even have a T. Higgins. Maybe Golden is, we'll see. But I don't see anybody who's going to make Jalen Ramsey look as old as Jamar Chase did.
Yeah, and I think if there's a coaching staff we can trust to make the adjustments, I think the Steelers are one of those coaching staffs. I don't think they're going to allow them to go after Jalen Ramsey in the same way that the Bengals did last week as well. Jay, the Packers are 2.5-point favorites in this game. Who have you got?
Give me the Steelers minus the 2 or plus the 2.5.
Yeah, Steelers at home. I think they're playing just as good, if not better, football than the Packers as well. Give me the Steelers at plus 2.5 as well. Jay, for the final game of the week, it is Monday Night Football. It is the Kansas City Chiefs against the Washington Commanders. Jaden Daniels is out. The Kansas City Chiefs are 11.5-point favorites. Jay, do you know who the only other quarterback outside of Joe Burrow to beat Mahomes in the playoff is?
Well, does the Super Bowl count as a playoff? Because then it's Tom Brady.
It doesn't, not the Super Bowl. Super Bowl doesn't count.
Well, then,
because then
my guess
Tom Brady and Jalen
I don't know this, but because of what's going on, I will guess Marcus Mariota.
It is Marcus Mariota. So clearly, the Washington Commanders are better with Marcus Mariota than they are with Jaden Daniels. That's clearly what that means. No, guys, that's not what that means at all. But Jay, obviously the Commanders are without Marcus Mariota, but Terry McLaurin has returned. Is Scary Terry a big enough difference maker to make this a closer game than what it initially looks like?
No, I think Kansas City should win this game. I don't think that Washington has enough firepower with Marcus Mariota to come out and win this game. But stranger shit has happened in the NFL.
Yeah, I agree. On the other side of the ball as well, do you think that the Commanders' defense is actually good enough to beat teams that are kind of this good? Like, they went up against the Cowboys and the Cowboys put 44 points on them. When they come up against an offense, I think they have a middle of the pack offense, but the style of offense that can really crumble against the good teams. Do you think they could keep it close against this Chiefs offense that's looking very good this week?
No, I think that's the thing is I don't think the Commanders have a good enough defense to carry them. And I think that's what you see in those games when they get blown out is that the offense isn't helping that defense out at all. And these are the types of teams that really need both sides of the ball to play well, to complement each other to win. They don't really have one side of the ball or the other who's going to carry them to a victory.
Yeah, and one of the serious pluses of Jaden Daniels being on the field is his 3rd and 4th down conversion stats. He's one of the best in the league. And without that, because of the way their offensive scheme works, they do end up getting to 3rd down quite a lot of the time. So they do end up getting having to give the ball back, and that defense just isn't good enough. Jay, surely we can expect the Chiefs to handle business in this game. They have kind of coming away from this idea that they keep the games close. Their offense is stellar, and their defense, I think, is really going under the radar as well. The Chiefs are 11.5-point favorites. Who have you got?
I hate the spread, but give me the Chiefs.
I hate the spreads as well, but give me the Chiefs in this one. I just think they look like they're taking care of business, like they're coming out and they're taking care as they go forward. So that is all of our bets. So that is all of our bets for the week with our with half an hour before kickoff. You guys will be looking towards your fantasy lineup. Some players may have been ruled out that were on the questionable list. Some players are back in. We'll give you our fantasy player to watch that you guys should maybe take a look at. And guys, mine is on the fantasy waiver wires in most leagues in the NFL, so you can still go and get him from waivers if you need to. But Jay, who have you got for your fantasy player of the week?
Well, I teased it earlier, and my fantasy player of the week is Brandon Aubrey playing in Denver. I think there will be a lot of field goal opportunities for Brandon Aubrey because Denver has a good defense, and he can kick the ball from you get to the 50-yard line, and the guy can kick a fucking field goal. So Brandon Aubrey is my player to watch it for this week in fantasy football. And if you're like Harley, not every league does this, but we get a point for every 10 yards. So Brandon Aubrey literally can get you a 6-point kick.
Brandon Aubrey is a ridiculous weapon in our league. He took me to the championship last year basically by himself, scoring. He's a ridiculous weapon to have in fantasy football the way that we do it. He's Like, he's absolutely cracked. Like, as a fantasy player, he's unbelievable. Jay, for me, my guy is on waiver wires. If you're struggling to fill the quarterback position with all the injuries that we're seeing, Kirk Cousins is still out there for you. And I think Kirk Cousins is going to have a big day in fantasy up against the Miami Dolphins. Bijan Robinson is going to hit that pass game from the backfield hard, and Drake London down the field as well.
Well, for everybody watching, we have a rule that I had to implement in our league because of Maddie. You're only allowed to have 2 quarterbacks. Because we have a 14-league team, Maddie would have like 6 quarterbacks on his bench, so the other guy couldn't get a quarterback. So
those injured quarterbacks.
Kyler Murray gets injured, so I put him on my IR. So I'm like, okay, I can pick up another quarterback. And I went and picked up Tyrod fucking Taylor.
Well, Jay, you'll be happy to know in our league, Justin Fields is on the waiver wire for you to have.
No, I'm starting Rodgers this week.
Still there.
No, I'm starting Rodgers, so it's not a big deal, and I expect Kyler to be back. But it was just like, really, I had to pick up a second quarterback just in case. So I'm like, let me get Tyrod Taylor, and then they're like, nah, Tyrod can't play.
God, Justin Fields sitting on the waiver wire in our league is looking very tempting. I got JJ McCarthy. I've got Caleb Williams as my starter, and then I've got JJ McCarthy because I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued by JJ McCarthy to see what he'll do.
Come get Maddie.
Caleb Williams.
Come get him. He's out of control with this Justin Fields shit.
I'm just interested. Projected 22 points. It's a lot. But yeah, so guys, Kirk Cousins is still on waiver. He's only rostered by 8% of people on the ESPN app. So go get Kirk Cousins if you're struggling at quarterback. He's only projected to score 18. I think he'll get more than that up against this Miami defense as well. Moose was about to cut to it. I'd cut to it. Cut to it. Pick up Justin Fields or Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is right there for you if you need him. But yeah, guys, let's have a look back through our bets for the week. So me and Jay both took the Falcons at 7 points against the Dolphins. We also both took the Bears at +2.5. We then both took the Bengals at -5.5 before splitting. I picked the Panthers and Jay picked the Bills. The Bills 7-point favorites in that one. We both took the 49ers at +2.5 against the Texans. We both took the Patriots at 7-point favorites against the Browns. I took the Giants and Jay took the Eagles, with the Eagles at 7-point favorites. We both took the Buccaneers at 4.5-point favorites. I took the Colts and Jay took the Titans, with the Colts at 14.5-point favorites. Don't love the spread on that one. We both took the Cowboys at +3.5 dogs against the Broncos. We both took the Steelers at 2.5-point underdogs as well against the Packers. And to finish off, we both took the Chiefs against the Commanders, with the Chiefs 11.5-point favorites. Jay, it seems to be a week for the underdogs in this one. We like that Vegas was giving us some odds on some teams that we actually really like.
It's actually good because like the favorites have failed to cover the spread like 80% this year, so that's a wild thing. And if you have it in front of you, I don't know if you do, you want to let them know what our best bets were?
Yeah, so our best bets for this week. So the best bets we started off with the Bears at +6. I don't know whether the Bears at +2.5 remains a best bet. I still think it does. I think the Bears will beat the Ravens. We both also took the 49ers at +1.5. You're now getting the 49ers at +2.5, so take that as well. And then I took the Giants at +7.5 against the Eagles. They're now down to +7. And Jay took the Bucks at -4.5, where they're still at 4.5 as well. So get out there and bet on those games. You guys have got 20 minutes left before kickoff.
All right, everybody. Well, thanks for watching. We appreciate it. I forgot to do it before the show, but I'll do it right after the show. I will drop the link in the comments. But do us all a favor and make sure you go check out the merch store. We got a lot of stuff out there right now, and it is at direct.app/the Yankee and the Brit. Like I said, I will put that in the description below. There's some cool stuff. We're going to have some fighters coming up. Moose, who's in the comments, is going to have his shirt. I've been starting to work on that a little bit yesterday. So once I get that done, it'll I get it done and get Moose approval, it'll be up on the site. So make sure you check that out. And like Maddie said, if you want, buy us a cup of coffee. It'd be greatly appreciated. We thank all of you guys because we have been slowly seeing this uptick in subscribers. So please keep hitting that subscribe, hit that notification button. And if you wouldn't mind, just share it because that really helps us get the show out to everybody. But like I said, hit the notification button because we got a lot of shows and we got something for everybody. So I'm sure if you just hit that notification, you will find something. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. One world, one love. Deuces.
Cheerio.
Oh, yeah, we're getting a Cheerio shirt, too.